The article was concerning, especially to myself, being somebody who talks, eats, lives fragrances. Bringing it here because it then zooms into this genre that I talk about all the time here. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'm going to echo it. One of the compounds, the study identified a fragrance ingredient used in a cheap perfume. The International Fragrance Association prohibits. Are they saying that all products or all fragrances will have to undergo that process first before they are allowed to sell?
Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi guys, CeeChronicles here. Welcome back to my channel. I post fragrance reviews on this channel and would very much appreciate it if you did consider subscribing and joining this family. And to those who are already part of the family, thank you so much for the continued support. Today is going to be a chit chat video based on an article that I came across 2 days ago. The article was concerning, especially to myself, being somebody who talks, eats, lives fragrances, breathes fragrances, a fragrance junkie. But of course, it was not just targeted only at fragrances. There were other, organizations that weighed in there to highlight on, the issue of the European Union as well as Canada banning the use of musk ambrette in fragrances, beauty products, self-care products, soaps and stuff like that. So at the moment, it does look like Canada and the European Union have banned those notes in the use of, of course, a broader spectrum of products, but it's concerning to me because musk ambrette is found in fragrances as well. If you don't know what musk ambrette is, it is a synthetic form of musk used as an additive in perfumes to enhance the smells and stuff. But it's also used in self-care products, household products, air fresheners and stuff, right? But I'm of course here mainly to zoom on the issue of it being used in fragrances. Now, disclaimer guys, this is going to be alleged, but I did find it on the internet and it did cite the International Fragrance Association, which is a legit fragrance association. And there was of course another article that I'm going to read to you here. It is allegedly the International Fragrance Association, the European Union and Canada have banned a musk ambrette, and of course there is an impending imposed ban possibly in other countries, right? Because of course if a certain continent or country or whatever bans a certain whatever, it's going to maybe spiral to other countries. However, having said that, the fragrance industry in itself is a giant industry, so I don't think it's just gonna happen overnight in other places and stuff, right? So it's probably going to come in slowly and filter in slowly. But of concern and why I'm here is it does touch on why they have banned or are imposing a ban or suggesting a ban in the use of musk ambrette, mainly because they're saying that that chemical has got a component in it that triggers early puberty in girls, right? And not only that, plays around with hormones and especially the hypothalamus, which is responsible for that transitioning into puberty. So they are saying that over the past years, it's seeming that a lot of young girls are entering puberty pretty early, like menstruating at the age of 10, 11, that sort of thing. And that has been attributed to, of course, being exposed to that chemical, which is the musk ambrette. They have also gone ahead to say not only is it in fragrances, guys, this is why I said I'm just zooming on fragrances, because of course I talk a lot about fragrances, but you will find musk ambrette in food additives, you will find it in cleaning products and soaps and self-care products and lotions and air fresheners and a lot. Okay, so I'm going to read an article here that was published by this organization that's called EWG, and EWG says a worrying trend of girls. I'll be reading, so I'm looking down because I don't want it to be as though I am saying this. Okay, this is according to this report, saying a worrying trend of girls starting puberty earlier is raising questions about whether chemical exposures play a role. Now, a new study suggests that a link between certain chemicals in everyday products like fragrances and cleaners can disrupt the hormones of the brain involved in a puberty. Okay. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a twist in how you can look at this in, the flip side of this and why I'm here. The study published this week in the peer-reviewed journal Endocrinology tested over 10,000 environmental compounds on human brain cells to see if they affected the hormones that lead to puberty. Puberty is controlled by a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, right? That is in the brain, which regulates hormones. This gland releases hormones and causes physical changes like breast growth and a menstrual cycle in girls, right? So the study was led by researchers in the National Institute of Health and the Northwestern University. So of course this is a scholarly article that I'm reading here because it is referencing scholars. Okay. The age when girls enter puberty has gotten earlier and earlier in the past decades. This is according to them, though the reasons are unclear. Now, the trend has been more pronounced amongst girls in communities of color and those in families living in lower incomes. This is why I said I'm bringing it here, because it then zooms into the sort of things that the sort of genre that I talk about all the time here, which is that of affordable fragrances. And well, not really just about affordable fragrances, guys. It's gonna touch on that way it says imports and stuff, but it's not really zooming on particular fragrances, because if we are to go back to some of the fragrances or the popular fragrances that are supposedly from good standing houses like Dior and stuff, you will find that Dior Homme Intense, has got Musk and Brett. You will find that Mojave Ghost. I love Mojave Ghost by Byredo. That has got Musk and Brett. Wood Sage and Sea Salt, I'll be damned. That one has Musk and Brett as well. So I don't think this is discriminatory according to maybe the like certain brands, but it touches on that way. It talks about the precautions to take, and then it talks about the importation of some of these products and stuff, right? So it says that factors like genetics and diet play a role, but research increasingly suggests that environmental exposures have a part. Products people use every day and the food and drink they consume are also a potential of exposure. The authors identified several chemicals that may prompt key receptors involved in puberty, which in turn can cause the hypothalamus to jumpstart the reproductive system, leading to early puberty. The early puberty is associated with higher risk and long-term health problems such as decreased fertility. So we're getting deep here. Diabetes, cardiovascular disease, breast cancer, etc. So the toxic chemical exposures, right? This is another topic where it then goes into toxic chemical exposures. It says one of the compounds the study identified as potentially leading to premature puberty was musk ambrate, a fragrance ingredient. Listen to this. I'm going to echo it. One of the compounds the study identified as potentially leading to premature puberty was musk ambrate, a fragrance ingredient used in a cheap counterfeit perfumes, air fresheners, and personal care products. That's where I said it then comes closer to home, where people like myself talk about affordable fragrances and stuff. They did not say affordable products. They spoke about cheap fragrances. They spoke about cheap imports. They spoke about personal care products. So the article goes on to say, when tested on animal cells, musk ambrate triggered the release of one hormone that sparks puberty and leads to the production of sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone. The study focused on chemicals that may trigger early puberty in girls. Okay, we have said this. Let me try and see if I can say something that they haven't said, right? So the European Union and Canada have banned musk ambrate for the use in cosmetics, and the International Fragrance Association. So it says international, right? So the last time I checked, international was worldwide, right? So it says the International Fragrance Association prohibits its use in fragrances. So this is kind of like affirmative. This is like an order. This is like this is sort of like, an authority saying we have prohibited this, right? How fast it's going to catapult to other countries and regions and so on, I don't know, guys. But it does say that the International Fragrance Association prohibits the use of muscum bread in fragrances, right? But it has gone on to say it may still be found in products with undisclosed fragrances on ingredients labels. I think they're trying to say with undisclosed ingredients on fragrance labels, as well as imported products or those sold in second-hand stores and dollar stores, right? So it hits home there, where if you then look outside this article, now this is me talking, okay? This is not, I've quoted this article, but the reason why I'm here is, to me, it goes beyond. Is this a direction that's going to affect some of the affordable fragrances? Is this a welcome development where it was about time an authority comes into the mix to regulate whatever is going on within, especially the fragrance industry? Though I did say that muscum bread, according to some organization here, was said to be found in other products. Remember, I did say even in food additives, in lotions and stuff, but I'm talking mostly about fragrances because this is a fragrance channel. So is this a welcome development that's going to make certain products go through a severe examination to ensure that they are not harmful to the end users, right? So if that is the direction it's going, then that's great, because the mention of muscum bread is not really discriminatory here. It's touching on anything that has muscum bread, right? So if I'm not here to say certain lines that are of good standing will not be affected. They will, because obviously I did give you examples of some of the fragrances that we have been using over time that use that ingredient. So I think this is across the board. But then if you look deeper into it, it could be just a tiptoeing starter point into maybe regulating the vast production of some of the fragrances that may not necessarily be going through some of these vigorous or rigorous testing to make sure that they are of good standing. So this is just my thought, and I just thought, guys, to throw it to you there to hear your thoughts on it, whether you think it's something that is well deserved, whether you think it's something that because some can argue again and say, look, we've been using fragrance. I mean, I grew up around Chanel number 5. My mom was using Chanel number 5. I'm not saying it's got muscum bread, but I'm pretty sure there were some fragrances, that were during my time when I was young. I'm not sure where in Calvin Klein Beauty. I'm not sure how old that one is, but it does have muscum bread. And I'll be damned if that one was there while I was growing up. I'm just trying to put a little bit of some, light-weightedness to this, because I don't want the title of this to be taken out of context. But I thought, because it's an article that's 2 days old and it's citing heavyweight organizations, I'm not sure whether the International Fragrance Association is actually a regulatory board, whether it has the authority to impose a law. I'm not sure, but it is cited there. And because it's an international organization, and this is an article that came 2 days ago, it's not something that, if proven to be outright correct, without any bias, because there was a lot of mention here where I'm saying without any bias, there was a lot of mention where they then went on to say you should buy this, you should buy that. So I'm not sure now whether it's then turning again into marketing or whatever it is. Let me read to you there where I'm saying, if you look at it both ways, it could be also that there is a little bit of some sort of like marketing thing that's going on here. Let's see. On the title where it says reducing exposure, it says it's impossible to avoid exposure to harmful chemicals in daily life completely, because they're found not just only in personal care, household products, but they're also found in drinking water, food. But there are steps that can help to reduce exposure, including, this is where I say it really then becomes something to do with maybe a certain authority directing people to look out for products that have this logo, right? So because it says choose safer products, use healthy living apps, skin deep database, and guide to health cleaning to identify products that score well. Look for items that bear the EWG verified trademark, right? So it says look for products that bear the EWG verified trademark, as these products have been reviewed by our scientists to meet our rigorous standards of health and transparency. It then goes on to say, avoid undisclosed fragrances and watch for this term on product labels. It may indicate the presence of muscambate. Instead, choose products that disclose all their fragrance ingredients, or look, we're going back again to that EWG verified mark, right? Review the EWG's page on toxic chemicals for more information about various substances, and consult our consumer guide to help reduce exposure to chemicals. And that's the end of the article. So basically you can look at this, two ways. Whether are they saying that all the products are going to have to go through that EWG thingy where they have to be certified by the EWG? Are they saying that all products or all fragrances will have to undergo that process first before they are allowed to sell? This is not immediately, but I'm talking about the near future here. So it is something that I thought, okay, let me just throw it out there. But having said that, guys, it's not a bad thing to have regulatory authorities, especially where health is concerned. And this is across the board. This is not just fragrances. It also applies when it comes to food, whatever thing we use, plastic, all sorts of things. So it's not a bad thing. But I'm just looking at it, futuristically, that will this, be a slow way of regulating the influx of some of the fragrances that are flooding the market? Will it be the start of somewhat a direction that regulates some of these fragrances, the chemicals, and making sure that the industry in itself is, of good standing? I don't know. I'm going to leave it there, and we can interact in the comment section, guys, on what you think about this article. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with the article. I actually think it's good to have regulatory authorities, sometimes weigh in there, because yes, in as much as we love to smell good, touch not my muscambate and do me no harm. Basically, you want to look at the flip side of it and say, there's got to be more to life than, chasing every fragrance high, if you know what I mean, because there is like this fragrance after fragrance and flanker after flanker. We really can't catch up on what's really happening with the fragrance industry. So yes, there is only so much we can take, more so that again, fragrances are sensory based. Okay, they work with the senses, granted, and this is the reason why you can never have enough of fragrances, especially when you become a frag head, or you become so invested in fragrances. You can't have enough, because they interpret differently. They work around with your senses differently all the time. So you're literally chasing the next best thing all the time, or the next high, if you will, that's going to kind of psych your senses a certain way. So yes, I'm not looking at this, with a side eye. I'm just throwing it out there so that we discuss further, and you can tell me your thoughts on it. You can tell me the other industries who are going to be affected by this, should it go worldwide and stuff like that, and we can of course interact there. Remember to subscribe, guys, and to turn on post notifications. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, and let's meet in the next one, guys. Meanwhile, smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.